There is a version of your life that you think about sometimes. Maybe late at night, maybe in the shower, maybe in those quiet moments when your brain finally slows down enough to actually wander. A version where you're doing the thing you actually want to do, where you made the move, took the shot, built the thing, where you stopped waiting and just started. And then something pulls you back, a notification, a reason it's not the right time yet, a voice in your head that says soon. When things settle down, when you have more money, when you feel more ready, when life gives you a clearer sign. But here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. That moment is never coming. Not because your dreams are unrealistic, not because you don't have what it takes, but because waiting for the perfect conditions to start your life is itself the thing that's stopping it from starting. You're not waiting for your life to begin. You are actively choosing every single day to put it on hold. And today I want to talk about why, and more importantly, how to stop. Let's start with procrastination, because I think most people fundamentally misunderstand what that actually is. Procrastination is not laziness. Lazy people don't feel the weight of the things they're not doing. Procrastinators feel it constantly. It sits on your chest. It's that low-grade guilt that follows you around when you're watching another video instead of doing the thing. When you go to bed at night knowing you didn't move forward. When you wake up the next morning and the first thought you have is, I really need to do that today. You feel it. You know you feel it. So why don't you just do the thing? Because doing the thing makes it real. And real things can fail. Real things can be judged. Real things require you to find out whether you're actually capable. And as long as you never try, you never have to find out that you're not. Procrastination is protection. It's your brain keeping you safe from the discomfort of trying and falling short. But here's the cost of that protection. Every day you wait, the gap between where you are and where you want to be doesn't stay the same. It grows. Time is not neutral. It's always moving, always adding up, always becoming something. The only question is whether it's becoming progress or becoming regret. And regret is so much heavier than failure ever was. Do the thing badly. Do it before you're ready. Do it scared and unprepared and uncertain, because a bad first attempt puts you miles ahead of the person who never attempted at all. You can fix a bad attempt. You cannot do anything with nothing. Now, I want to talk about something that I think holds people back just as much as procrastination, and it's a little harder to admit. A lot of people are waiting for someone to come along and help them, waiting for the mentor who reaches out first, waiting for the opportunity that finds them, waiting for someone to see their potential and pull them forward. And I understand that impulse completely. It would be so much easier if someone just showed up and said, hey, I see what you're capable of. Let me help you out there. But that is not how that works. Almost never. The people who are where you want to be did not get there because someone handed it to them. They got there because they were relentless and putting themselves in the path of opportunity. They reached out first. They asked the uncomfortable question. They sent the email they weren't sure they should send. They introduced themselves when it would have been easier to say nothing. And here's the thing about connections that most people don't realize. They are so much closer than you think. You've probably heard about the 6 degrees of separation theory, the idea that every person on the planet is connected to every other person through a chain of no more than 6 people. 6 steps and you could theoretically reach anyone, but in practice, within your actual world, your city, your industry, your niche, it's usually 2 or 3. The person who could change your trajectory is not some unreachable figure living in a different universe. There are probably 1 or 2 introductions away from where you actually are. A friend of a friend, someone in a group you're already a part of, someone who follows the same people you follow online. The gap between you and the connection that changes everything is almost always smaller than it looks, but you have to be willing to close it yourself. So send the message, ask for the conversation, reach out to the person whose work you admire and tell them specifically what it means to you. Most people are more accessible than you think, and most people remember what it felt like to be where you are. The worst thing that happens is they don't respond. That's a survivable outcome, but you will never know what is possible if you never ask. Let's talk about excuses, and I want to be straightforward with you here because I think this is the part where most people get comfortable being dishonest with themselves. Excuses feel like reasons. That's what makes them dangerous. They have just enough truth in them to make them seem legitimate. I don't have time. True, you're busy, but you're also watching hours of content every day. I don't have money. True, resources are limited, but the thing you keep saying you'll start when you have money almost never actually requires money to begin. I don't know enough yet. True, you don't know everything, but you know enough to start, and starting is how you learn the rest. The excuse is not a wall. It's a door that you decided to stop in front of. And I'm not saying your circumstances aren't real. Some people are genuinely dealing with things that make moving forward harder. That's true and it's valid. But there is a difference between an obstacle and an exit. An obstacle is something you figure out how to get around. An exit is something you use to leave the conversation entirely. Most excuses are exits dressed up as obstacles. And you are smart enough to know the difference if you're honest with yourself. Ask yourself this: if the thing you're waiting for is never going to happen, if the condition you're waiting for was never going to be met, would you still find a way? And if the answer is yes, then you already know the condition was never really the issue. Here's something that I think about a lot and genuinely find kind of mind-blowing when you really sit with it. The human body and mind are so much more capable than most people ever test. Seriously, the things that human beings have done, the skills they built, the businesses they've started with nothing, the languages they've learned, the transformations they've made, the problems they've solved are genuinely extraordinary. And those people are not a different species. They don't have hardware you don't have. They have the same basic machine you're walking around in every single day. Your brain is plastic. That's a scientific term. It means it literally rewires itself based on what you repeatedly do and think. Every skill you practice changes your brain structure. Every habit you build carves a deeper groove. Every time you do the hard thing when you don't want to, you become slightly more capable of doing the hard thing. You are not fixed. You are not finished. You are not at the limit of what you can become. The ceiling you think you have is almost always not a ceiling. It is just the edge of your current comfort zone. And comfort zones are not permanent features of your personality. They are just the boundary of where you've been willing to go so far. Push the boundary and the boundary moves. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. The question is not whether you're capable. You are. The question is whether you're willing to find out exactly how capable. And that requires actually trying. I want to end with something simple, because I think sometimes people listen to something like this and they feel motivated for 20 minutes and they go back to exactly what they were doing. And I don't want that. I want this to actually mean something tomorrow, not just right now. So here's what I want you to do. Not someday, today. Pick one thing. The thing that's been sitting in the back of your mind, the thing you keep saying you'll start when the time is right, the project, the conversation, the application, the first step of the plan. Pick it and do one small part of it today. Not the entire thing, not a perfect version, one small part. Because the hardest part of starting is starting. Once you've started, you've already broken the spell. The waiting is over. The thing is real now, and real things can be worked on. Stop waiting for someone to hand you the life you want. Stop waiting for the fear to go away before you move. Stop waiting for your life to start like it's something that happens to you instead of something you build. It starts when you decide it starts, and that can be right now. And as always, have a great rest of your day.